If your spending feels like it's spiraling out of control and you're completely overwhelmed by expectations this Christmas, you're not alone. I want to share with you the top 5 money mistakes that I see my clients make around the holidays and how to overcome them. Addressing these mistakes will help you stop the cycle of overspending and prep for next year so you can look forward to a new tradition of stress-free, financially blissful holidays. This first mistake can be particularly easy to fall prey to. Imagine this. You're walking through Target. Christmas music is playing, the store is buzzing with holiday shoppers. You've got your gift list in hand, but all of a sudden you're spontaneously throwing item after item into your buggy, just knowing that your friends and family are going to love all of this cool stuff that you've picked out for them. But then the day finally arrives for them to open their gifts, and their response is, well, lackluster. And you're left wondering if they would have even noticed had you not bought them a gift at all, or certainly something much less expensive. One thing's for sure though, you definitely went overboard. So what happened? Well, sometimes we're having so much fun shopping that we end up justifying our overspending based on this hypothetical joy that we're going to bring to our loved ones. But in reality, this is just us having fun spending. The underlying value behind this type of gift giving often has very little to do with the person who's receiving the gift. So what is the value behind these type of purchases? Well, it is joy, it's just that it's joy for you. See, mistake number 1 is overspending on gifts and justifying it by telling yourself that it's to show love or bring joy to someone else, when in reality, it's just bringing joy to ourselves. Now, we can overcome this mistake by questioning the underlying values behind the gifts that we buy. Asking questions like, will this gift show them that I love them and care about the things they're interested in? Is this gift something that they'll actually use and enjoy? Or will it get shoved into the back of the closet? And will I be as enthusiastic about giving this gift as I am about the act of buying it? By asking these questions, we can start to unveil the real motives behind our holiday spending and defend against the holiday shopper's high. But these questions alone aren't enough to stop you from making mistake number 2. And to illustrate this, let me tell you a story. A few years ago, Hannah and I spent the day with our nephews, and we had meticulously architected the day for maximal fun having. First, we walked to the park where the boys spent hours playing with other kids. Next, we ventured to the local arcade where in just under 30 minutes, I spent a shocking amount of money on pinball. And finally, the fun crescendoed with dessert at the ice cream shop before walking back home and reminiscing on all the fun we just had. But as we were walking home, I was floored when I heard the boys talking about their favorite part of the day. Can you guess what it was? Well, if you guessed the completely free park, you'd be right. In fact, the day's most expensive activity, the arcade, came in dead last in their ranking, despite the fact that I thought it was going to be the one they loved the most. And there it is. I made this classic second mistake. Did you catch what it was? It's the same one that Michael makes.
Presents are the best way to show someone how much you care. It is like this tangible thing that you can point to and say, hey man, I love you, this many dollars worth.
That's right. Mistake number 2 is thinking that the dollar amount of the gift correlates with how much the recipient will enjoy it and how much you love them. And to overcome this mistake, we need to ask the questions, why do I feel the need to spend this much? Will this particular gift actually convey how much I care about this person? And can I find creative ways to spend less money while still showing the same value that I'm looking for? Just like going to the park with my nephews, oftentimes there's ways to spend considerably less money for something they would enjoy even more. While these first 2 mistakes deal with how to think about gift giving, the next few mistakes have to do with how to communicate around gift giving. Let's be honest, a lot of holiday spending happens because of expectations, both those that we place on ourselves and the expectations of others. But if we just had a conversation, we might be pleasantly surprised to find that the people we think have overwhelming expectations for us are overwhelmed themselves by the expectations they think that we have of them. In fact, one of my clients just last week shared with me that he was able to cut holiday spending down for his family of 6 from $2,500 last year to only $1,200 this year. And one of the main ways that they were able to cut back was simply talking to their family about how they wouldn't be able to do the normal gift-giving traditions this year. And can you guess his family's response? It was actually relief. He told me that they were like, whew, man, I am so glad that you said something. I'm stressed about this every year. Cutting back sounds great. let's just get together and forget about the gifts this year. Obviously, this doesn't always happen. Your family may value gift giving so much that they actually think you should go into debt for it. But oftentimes, our loved ones are much more understanding than we give them credit for. And if your relationships are healthy, then the people involved will care much more about spending time together than spending a ton of money on gifts. That's why mistake number 3 is not being honest with your loved ones about how much you can responsibly spend. And speaking of being honest, that brings us to mistake number 4, which I think a lot of us can relate to. It goes something like this. You're minding your own business at work when Stacy drops by to invite you to her annual ugly Christmas sweater party, where everyone will need to show up in, you guessed it, an ugly Christmas sweater. And of course, bring a $30 gift for the White Elephant gift exchange. Oh, and an appetizer to share with 10 people. You say yes, of course, feeling put on the spot, but you immediately start calculating the costs. Well, there goes another $30, plus money for the Christmas sweater and the appetizers. Not to mention, you've already said yes to another gift exchange at church, plus your 2 kids are now doing gift exchanges with their classmates, and that's all on top of the normal events that both sides of your family have been doing for the last 20 years. It's not even that you don't want to do these things necessarily. They do sound fun. It's just that it's all starting to add up, and very quickly. And that's why mistake number 4 is forgetting that you can say, no thanks, or repeat after me. I'm really sorry I won't be able to make it this year, but it was so thoughtful of you to invite me, and I hope that y'all have a wonderful time celebrating. For those of you that are thinking, oh, come on, there's no way that I can actually say no to these invites. That is perfectly fine. Just recognize that's your choice. Either you'll say no and pay the price socially for the fear of missing out or potentially hurting some feelings, or you'll go along and pay the literal price and potentially put yourself in a tough spot financially in the new year. Ultimately, the choice is yours. Just recognize that you do have a choice, and you don't have to do the same things that you've always done just because you've always done them. And to overcome this mistake next year, I strongly encourage you to make a list of the gatherings that you would like to attend and the people that you would specifically like to buy a gift for. When spontaneous invitations come up, make your default answer no, unless it is a particularly special circumstance. And speaking of next year, mistake number 5 is not using this year's stress as motivation to actually plan for next year's Christmas. Santa Claus is coming to town whether you're ready or not. But of course, you'll be ready because you're going to watch this video right here that walks you through my 3-step process that has helped over 1,000 clients build and stick to a budget that's aligned with their values. I'll see you there.